Welcome to another episode of misBEERhavior, where I am the host this week, Ron, and these are my lovely and talented co-hosts, the amazing and beautiful Missy.
Hello.
And the ever-attractive and amazing Miss Ariana.
Yo.
This is episode... Are we on episode 30 yet? Are we still in
30.
Is it 30?
30.
No.
Come on, failure. Get something right today.
Dirty 30. It's episode Dirty 30.
Yes, 30.
Wow, 30 episodes of BEERhavior already.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep going. We're going to... I feel like we're going to lap strobing butt hug.
Butt hug.
Strobing butt hug.
you know how Ron is. He's all about that dude booty.
Ron's having a day today, so of the beers that I brought one that I wasn't sure if we had, but I thought we might have. So I brought a backup beer, which was also something we definitely had on the strobing butt plug, not butt hug. So Miss Ariana's actually donated one from one of her own beers to cover my fuck up. Thank you, Ariana. I love you.
No problem.
So we'll go with the things we're going to go with first. One of the first beers we have is the Assistant Manager beer, Golden Lager by Seventh Son Brewing, Assistant Manager. God, I am fucking up today.
Did you say that?
That's what he did say.
I drank a lot this last weekend, a lot more than I intended, and my brain is fried.
Mm-hmm. I think he's just creating excuses.
I think so. I think he's just dumb.
Possibly, or it's just early onset dementia. Take your pick.
Well, we'll say Ron has dementia. It would be really great when we turn this into the dementia show.
It'll be the same episode every time. And then, of course, the one that the lovely Miss Ariana has donated to cover my fuck-ups is Warped Wing 10-Ton Brown Ale. And, of course, we have the Mysterious Berries. Ooh. Part of the reason I drank too much this last weekend. So,
awesome.
What's up, ladies? How we doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing pretty okay. Unbothered. Fucking unbothered.
Unbothered?
Yeah.
I've been using the phrase fat, unbothered, and in my lane for a couple of weeks now, so I
Nice.
appreciate that.
Yep. I'm unbothered.
So, what shall we go first? The Warped Wing or the Seventh Son?
We'll do the Warped Wing.
That's cool. I already tried those. I think that's what I took to Francis's thing.
It is.
I believe it is, and it is quite delicious.
They sat in my car for a couple of days in the hot weather.
So we'll see how they are.
So they might be gross.
We'll see how they survive that.
I think I actually tried one since then. It wasn't that bad because I was like, well, I'm going to see how this tastes because I was going to use it on my next episode.
That's so funny.
I owe you one.
It's all right.
He'll probably just bring you one that he already bought, that we already had. Here, I got you this beer. Dude, what the fuck?
I am prettier than I am smart, and as you both can attest, I ain't
I mean,
pretty.
they come out with new beers all the time.
So, one of the questions I was recently asked about our podcast, by the way, is how do you guys keep finding new beers all the time? How do you not duplicate them?
Ron duplicates shit.
We have an Untapped, and we check it to make sure we're not buying the same beer. At least two of us.
Two out of three of us are smart enough to fucking...
The royal we.
The 2 out of 3 of us are smart. The other one is, I just don't know how I keep buying the same fucking things. And then he blamed, he blamed Transformers, but...
2 out of 3 misBEERhavior podcasters recommend checking the Untapped.
Right.
The third one's just a retard.
He had his weekend was so crazy that while he was buying beer, he couldn't get onto his phone and check his Untapped.
Crazy.
I mean...
It's crazy how busy we get.
Jesus, I know. Your phone's in your hand and in your face all the time, but yet you just can't slide your thumb over.
Like how many messages did we get from Ron this weekend?
Enough.
Right. I mean, he's not too busy to message.
So
anyway,
just
too busy to tap that app.
So anyway, this Warped Wing 10-Ton Brown Ale is a 6.0 and a 35 IBU by Warped Wing out of Dayton. And the can's got a lot of yellows and tans and kind of like a crane lifting something heavy. I got nothing else other than the description. What do you guys think?
I like it. It's like pee and poop.
Pee and poop color?
Yeah. It's very
Pee poo poo
it's
color.
very 70s looking.
Yeah. I really like
industrial art kind of a color.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like if you walk into a 70s living room, that's the colors you're thinking.
You got that goldenrod and that earthy brown with like
almost green, like maybe like baby poop green kind
And a
of color
cream
mixed in.
color.
right, yeah, like that the cream color. It's got kind of a little bit grayish and like it does have some brown in it. And the one like I see like there's a hook and it's in something, and so that's the 10-ton weights being lifted from the whatever.
10-ton crane.
10-ton, that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah. But it's a brown ale. It tastes like a brown ale. It's got a little bit of a spice to it.
It's not too shabby.
It's not like it's almost like you've had it before.
Right.
I know. I think I've tasted this before.
So before I launch into my chaos and I forget it again,
It's a little bit chocolatey.
tell me about your weekend, ladies.
So Logan, if it weren't for the fact that I know he does not smoke pot, I would swear up and down he smokes pot. Because see, I was talking about how I was at work the one day and I was talking about how I went to Vegas and tried some gummies and got like super fucked up on them because I kept eating them, forgetting that I had them, or just not feeling the buzz and thinking I was drunk off of one Long Island iced tea that I had like 4 hours prior. And so my partner was talking about when, I don't know, he had done gummies or like smoked pot or something. And he said he had one of those moments where he had to focus to breathe. Like he's like, oh my God, I'm not breathing. And he said he had that moment. And I was like, oh, I know what that feels like. You're not sure whether you're breathing. And he said he was all paranoid that if he was to pass out, he'd stop breathing. And his buddy had to tell him, no, you'll be cool. You'll be all right. And it's funny.
I just want to say you're not breathing manually.
Right. And it was funny because
you're not breathing manually.
The partner that brought that up, then when I was at home and Logan was doing the dishes, he started laughing. He just laughs out of nowhere all the time. He's like, hey, Mom. He's like, sometimes when I'm doing stuff like doing the dishes, he's like, I think to myself, man, I haven't taken a breath in a while. I was like, dude, you got to be on the pot. I was like, you got to be smoking pot. And no. And I was like,
You got to be on the pot.
Yeah.
That's like the oldest people thing you say ever.
You're on the pot.
I know
Right.
you're smoking the pot.
And I like to say things like, how many weeds did you smoke, dude? Like,
This sounds like
did you have at least 3? You had to have at least 3 weeds. Now,
this sounds like conversations with serendipity before I kicked her out of the house and
That's so
discovered
funny.
she was smoking weed. And it was, yes, I have injected all the marijuana into my veins today.
that's awesome. I like it. Have you
Yeah.
been injecting marijuana? I'm going to ask him that next time. Have you been injecting marijuana, Logan? That's what I'm going to say.
Are you injecting the marijuanas?
That's right.
You have to add an S to the back.
Yes.
Right,
end of it.
exactly. You've been injecting the marijuanas.
If you can pull off a good old Jewish grandmother accent.
No, I don't know that I could.
Talking about this breathing thing, though, I got my old Fat Man CPAP machine today, and they made me take like an hour class before they just let me have it and walk out the door with it.
Did you put one on and breathe with it or anything? Or
That was part of it, but
I kind of figured.
You have to
'Cause
take a
it,
class?
it feels
insurance
like
required shit.
Interesting.
It feels like it's choking you, I think, as a lot of people say, because it's forcing air into
Right.
you, so it's forcing it even when you're like breathing out.
The machine they gave me is supposed to have this like smart thing on it to detect when I'm breathing out, and it's supposed to like relieve the pressure for a second.
Did it work?
A little bit. It's supposed to like get better as you do it. Plus, I was like sitting in a room with like 6 other people who were all doing the same thing.
I feel like the our breathing apparatuses when I was in fire would do that. Like, it's like I think it's called positive pressure. So if you're not breathing, it doesn't do anything. But if you breathe in, or if you breathe out, it doesn't do anything. But if you breathe in, you get that air, but I don't think it's nearly as forced. It's pressurized, but it's not forced.
Well-
Like, because you have to suck it in. If you stop breathing, it's not going to do its thing.
Well,
I was going to say, I feel like they could do that, but it probably can't do
Well,
that.
like the whole point of the CPAP thing is like
It forces air.
They go like positive air pressure to keep like your throat open and shit. The dude was sitting there talking about how he had like a 9-year-old kid in there once on it.
Jesus, was the kid fat?
No. And then they had-
I've heard different things about that.
and
I've
they were
heard
just
it.
talking about he just talked about like different people he had through there. He had like some like huge bodybuilder, looked like the guy could like 300 pounds of pure beef. He was
Wow.
on it because his throat had so many muscles like when he laid down.
Oof.
Like basically like
It
the
would
big
close
like
up.
rip neck, big rip neck kind of looking dude.
Like that picture I sent you guys earlier this week.
Yeah,
with
that's right.
Yeah.
The chick.
Yeah, like
can't remember
that.
what
I
it
saw a
said.
video like that once.
What did that say?
It was something about.
Something about the girl with the strange tumor in her throat or
Oh
something.
yeah, pray for the girl with the
Yeah.
big tumor in her throat.
It was totally a picture of a chick that had a huge dick going down her throat. Definitely a tumor.
So there was one time, I don't know why. Okay, so it was back when I worked at Integrity. There was this girl that was dating this guy who was really weird, and he said he was from Texas, but he was doing business here. And she come to find out that he was actually married, had a family.
I remember part of this story, I think.
He was saying how his his best friend is this chick that he used to have sex with, but like they don't have sex anymore, blah blah blah. And he kept sending pictures of him and this chick like hanging out doing things, and I'm like, that looks like posed. Like I was like, she doesn't even look like the previous chick. And my partner was like, oh no, he says she dyes her hair a lot, blah blah blah. And so at one point, like when he sent her, she believed that the different pictures of the different girls were all the same girl, but she had 2 different dick pics from him and thought they were 2 different dicks. So she was like thinking that he wasn't even sending her real dick pics, or at least of his. So then we started I forget. We ran into 2 guys that used to work with us at an emergency department. So we're all sitting in the emergency department room where they have their EMS people and write them their reports. And all 4 of us are looking for this particular chick, and we're trying to see if we can find this dick pic online. So we're like looking for this chick, and we're looking for these dick pics on all these different porn sites. And I come across, there is a video of a dude, like the girl's leaning back with her head over the arm of the chair. She's wearing like a cheerleader outfit, and he's just going to town on her mouth. And like you can see it like go in and out of her fucking throat. I was like, Jesus Christ. I went back and we told our dispatchers what we were looking at, and I told her, I was like, I explained the video, and the one I loosely explained the video, and the dispatcher was like, oh, that's on this site. She's like, yeah. She's like, she's wearing this cheerleader uniform. I was like, oh my fucking god! Like she had already seen the video. She described it to a T what that chick was wearing.
So these are the people that use the share button on the porn sites?
Probably.
The Twitter, the social media share buttons. Yes, I'm
Right.
going to post this porn on my Facebook page.
I feel like, yeah.
I want Grandma to see what I'm spanking
That
to.
would be funny. That would be really funny.
Isn't that,
I'm going to hack Ron's account sometime and hit the share button on Pornhub.
Do you still have any living grandparents?
No.
No fair.
Sadly.
I guess we'll have to show it to his mom.
That's right. Shared directly to his mom.
Yeah, and his brother and
That'd be
sister.
great.
My brother would be like, yep, that's my brother. Yep. He can
He'd
go
be
down.
like, block.
That's
Yeah.
so fucking funny.
He's not. My brother's not even on social. He's
Oh,
like
he's
old
smart.
school farmer type.
Smart.
Sister-in-law is, but not him.
That's funny.
So what do we think of this beer, guys?
I like it.
I like it. It's caramely. Like it's almost like a not burnt caramel, but kind like it's like a toasted caramel.
Like toasted
Kind
caramel,
Toasted caramel
like
and
maybe
chocolate.
maybe like a slight tobacco-y
Caramely.
kind of a cigar-y kind of a thing
Right.
going on.
But not sweet. For
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, get like a cigar kind of a tobacco-y
Yeah.
thing.
So for those out there, this is not a sweet beer.
No,
It's
a little bit
it's a
bitter.
stout. It's a stout bill. It's dank and stout.
I don't know if I would call it dank. But
There's
Oh,
a
I thought you said it was dank.
there-
no, I don't think so.
there's a
Oh.
little bit more. There's definitely a little bit more hops to it than most of like the brown ales that I've had.
I feel it's
Look-
very stout. Not like super potently stout, like not bitter beer face stout, but it's stout.
It's stout, and it has a little bit of spice to it.
Yep.
That's what Ronald said. And you said chocolatey also, right?
Yes, chocolatey and toasted caramel.
Chocolatey. So this weekend, for me, I went with my friend Lindsay, who I haven't seen in a little while, to Troy, and we went to the pet store to get stuff for our pets, and I got stuff to spoil the dogs, and then we went to Kay's Hamburgers, which is the first time I've ever been there.
Where's that at?
It is right by the circle in the main drag.
Okay.
Like if you're coming from like the Lowe's and that side of town, if you're heading, you have to go around the circle to get there.
Okay.
So it's like Troy's thing, apparently. It's like their equivalent of the Maid-Rite.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Basically, it's like they don't have like loose meat or anything. It's hamburgers, but it's
Right.
like their hometown equivalent of,
I like
you know what
that.
I mean? So we went there. I've heard like all of this, like, oh man, it's like the best place, whatever. And dude, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good, but it was like really awkward. Like we didn't know what the fuck to do. It was like so packed in there, and you walk in and like you first walk in and there's like a counter, and to the left is like the carry out, and then there's like a bar, and then there's like a little window area that kind of looks like where you would go to a buffet or whatever, and it has like the glass over the buffet, and you're standing there and it's like all cramped and shit. And I'm like, do we pay now, or like we order our food? And I'm like, I guess we sit down. Like we had no fucking idea what to do.
So weird.
And so yeah, but it wasn't bad.
It's
wasn't-
probably packed because they have no flow in there.
yeah, and I guess that place has been open since like 1935 or something
Jesus.
like that.
Hence
so.
the no flow. It's probably one of those that the grandparents have been going there since then.
Right,
And it's just
yeah.
like, what do you mean you don't know how this place works? You freaking out of town?
Pretty much, yeah. Like everybody looks at you when you walk in, like who the fuck's that?
And they're
Right.
going to like, we don't know you. You ain't allowed in here. You ain't one of our kind.
That's funny.
But it's like really, I don't know, like you walk in and it's like all white. It's like that, I don't even know what you call it, but it's like the white plastic walls with like the little metal strips in between.
Like that like 50s diner kind of shit.
Yeah, it's like that. Like it, like
Oh.
you first walk in and there's like a walkway, and then there's booths on this side, and like it's just like feels really cramped. And then like they had an actual dining room too that was like a small dining room, but man, it was just, I don't know, it was weird. The flow in there, like you said, it's like really awkward.
That's weird. Interesting. And it's not even a super damn delicious place. I'll have to try it.
I
They had
mean,
good milkshakes for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
But I mean, they had like the crinkle cut fries, and I'm not huge on
Yeah,
those.
I hate those fries.
I don't really like them
They're
either.
terrible fries.
And they had their hamburgers were pretty good. I wouldn't say, I mean, they weren't anything special. It was a hamburger.
Right.
Yeah.
probably just at this point surviving on like the local thing. It's like the Eaton place in Eaton that's been
Basically.
around for a billion years.
Dude, that place is trash. It's flavorless food.
I had
The
I had
old
a
people like
mint
to go.
flavored milkshake, which they don't have at a lot of places. So I
That
thought
would
that
be
was
good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Eaton place, like my sister-in-law works there, but like I remember my grandparents going there, and it used to be like the thing they would go to get breakfast every Saturday or some shit.
People act like they love that place, and they always wanted to order from it when I was working at the firehouse. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to order these biscuits and gravy. And they were so bland. It was like the gravy tasted like flour. It's like, ooh, gross.
Ew. That's nasty.
Well, like I said, it's one of those places that's like, because around here in Ohio, there's a lot of those. This town's got its one restaurant that survived, you know, time immemorial. And everything else has been killed and replaced by McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, and Burger King.
Right.
Burger King's soon to be gone because Burger King kind of sucks.
I think Burger King is about the best fast food restaurant out there, and they are closing them down left and right.
See, I used to like Burger King a lot, but like I don't know, like nobody's ever at the Burger King in Greenville, and I've heard like so much bad shit about it that I just stopped going there, even though like I always
Right.
liked Burger King.
So the Burger King in Troy out front of the Walmart's pretty decent. I found out that's a corporately owned store. The one in Piqua in town, like, you know, half mile from my house,
Right.
that's a franchise. I have gone there before and gotten food, and remember one time I went there with Sarah, and they were out of fucking sesame seed buns. How did they run out of fucking buns?
Places run out of shit because they just don't do shit right.
And then like the meat, I remember the meat was like freezer burned and gray, and and the only way I could describe that burger the way it looked, it was like zombie flesh.
Nice.
Gross.
Yeah.
I think that's the last Burger King I ate at was the one in Piqua. It wasn't bad when I went, but that's been years ago.
I don't know, but yeah. So, what do we rate that, guys? Did we rate that on a 1 to 5?
I think like a 3.25.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll give it like a 3.5, just right there in the middle.
3.5 is good. Good.
It's a good beer, but it's not spectacular. Like you know,
Right.
super like, oh man, this is crazy. It's just beer.
Have you guys ever been to the Habitat for Humanity Restore?
Yes.
Yes.
I went in there for the first time the other day, and I'm like, I can't believe all the weird shit they sell.
They do have weird shit.
It's like you walk through, I'm like, I never would have thought to donate this. Now I know what I can do with some of my stupid shit that's just sitting around that I don't need.
That's funny.
The Habitat for Humanity Restore is great because the way they do their shit is, Habitat for Humanity, they'll go out and they'll gut houses. That's where a lot of it comes from. They'll
Right.
gut a house and they'll renovate it to something modern, and then they will take all the shit from that house that's usable and put it in their stores.
That's right.
Or people will just donate it like, Goodwill. And you get some of the most fucked up things in those places.
Like they just had like buckets of screws and shit laying around, and I'm like,
funny.
Like I wouldn't have thought that that's what would be in here, but this is cool.
Yeah,
I remember going into one once down in Cincinnati. It was like child size, so it was a short toilet, like a little kid-sized toilet that was all shaped like seashells and shit.
Ugh.
It was
Weird
fucking
and
weird.
funny.
There was no seat to it, but it was like clearly like this scaled in size for like a little kid.
Was it a toilet or a bidet?
No, it was a toilet. It was definitely a toilet.
Because it would be difficult to have a seat for it. You'd have to have it.
No,
Like
there-
it probably would have had to come with it, but then it probably got broke,
It was probably
and
like
they couldn't replace it unless you
probably
got it online.
like a seashell toilet seat or something. Because the thing looked like it was all seashell, kind of a little pinky, not super pink, but